Hidden within the sacred pages of the Bible are tales so shocking, they've left generations utterly spellbound. Venture with us as we uncover 13 divine punishments that serve as chilling reminders of the consequences awaiting those who stray from God's path. Number 1. The Great Flood, Genesis 6:8. Picture a world unlike any we know today. The earth was rife with malevolence and moral decay, a stark contrast to the harmonious vision its creator once beheld. So deep was the wickedness of man that it penetrated the very heavens, drawing the lamentations of a sorrowful God. It was not mere mischief or misdemeanor. This was a rot that struck at the core of human existence, threatening the very fabric of creation. Amid this maelstrom of moral degeneracy stood Noah, a man of virtue in a world that had forgotten the meaning of the word. While many might see him as just an ancient shipbuilder, Noah was, in essence, humanity's last bastion of hope. His steadfastness and righteousness caught the eye of the divine, making him a vessel of salvation in the impending cataclysm. The decision to cleanse the earth was not one of capricious anger, but a profound, heart-wrenching resolution born from divine grief over the state of his creation. The envisioned flood would be no ordinary downpour. It would be a deluge so vast and all-encompassing that it would reset the very balance of life. For Noah, the directive was clear: build an ark. This monumental task, which must have seemed insurmountable, was embarked upon with a faith that was unwavering. Day by day, plank by plank, amidst the incredulous gazes and mocking jeers of his contemporaries, Noah and his family toiled. Their mission was not just to build a vessel, but to preserve a microcosm of God's creation, a pair from every species, ensuring the continuity of life post-deluge. As the heavens finally opened, releasing torrents of rain in an unparalleled outburst, the ark stood resilient, a lone entity amidst the vastness of water. For 40 days and nights, water reigned supreme, obliterating all traces of the world that once was. Yet, as with all divine actions, this tale is not merely one of destruction, but of rebirth and redemption. As the floodwaters began to recede, revealing the nascent contours of a cleansed earth, a symbol of hope appeared in the sky, a radiant rainbow. More than just a play of light and droplets, this rainbow was a divine covenant, a solemn vow from God to mankind. Despite the gravity of humanity's transgressions, God promised never to cleanse the earth with water in such a manner again. This everlasting covenant serves as a poignant reminder of God's boundless mercy and the potential for rebirth even after the gravest of downfalls. Your support means the world to us. Click the bell icon to get instant notifications on our newest content, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any future content. Join the conversation below by leaving a comment. Number 2. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Genesis 19. In the shadowy chronicles of biblical history, the tale of Sodom and Gomorrah emerges as a cautionary fable, echoing with themes of retribution and mercy. These twin cities, nestled in the fertile plains, were not merely urban centers. They were emblematic of humanity's descent into moral chaos. As the sun cast its golden rays upon their opulent palaces and bustling markets, beneath the surface, the soul of the cities was tarnished. Their streets, rather than being havens of harmony, were riddled with vice and iniquity. The very air seemed charged with a palpable aura of depravity, a far cry from the divine virtues that once defined human existence. It wasn't just the rampant sins that caught the divine eye, but the audacity with which they were committed, flaunted openly without a shred of remorse or contrition. Such was the magnitude of their degradation that celestial whispers of their notoriety reached the heavens, compelling divine intervention. In response to the cries of the oppressed and the stench of sin that arose from these cities, two ethereal messengers cloaked in human guise descended upon Sodom. Their mission was twofold: to assess the veracity of the city's wickedness and to salvage any remnants of righteousness. It was in this endeavor that they encountered Lot, a man whose spirit still flickered with the light of virtue amidst the overwhelming darkness. The events that unfolded that fateful night, where the inhabitants sought to violate the divine guests, only confirmed the city's moral bankruptcy. The judgment was swift and unequivocal. With a celestial decree, the skies darkened, and what followed was an inferno of sulfur and fire, a divine conflagration that consumed every brick, tree, and soul, leaving nothing but ashes in its wake. Yet, even in this maelstrom of divine retribution, rays of mercy shone through. Lot, along with his daughters under the protective aegis of the divine emissaries, found escape. They fled, urged not to look back at the cataclysm befalling their former home. But human curiosity, as it often does, got the better of Lot's wife, and she turned, only to be transformed into a pillar of salt, a silent sentinel of the past. Today, the legend of Sodom and Gomorrah serves as a poignant testament. The desolate ruins, where once stood grandeur and vice, now whisper tales of divine judgment. They stand as eternal reminders of the razor's edge between divine patience and wrath, urging every soul to tread the path of righteousness, lest they too face the consequences of straying. Number 3. The plagues of Egypt, Exodus 7:12. The sands of Egypt whisper tales of grandeur and might. Yet among its chronicles, one narrative stands out, casting a shadow as vast as the Great Pyramid itself, the tale of the 10 plagues. Here, on the banks of the mighty Nile, a monumental clash of wills ensued, pitting the steadfast defiance of Pharaoh against the unyielding authority of the divine. The stage was set against the backdrop of a vast kingdom that prided itself on its architectural wonders and scholarly advancements. Yet beneath the opulence and prosperity lay a grievous wound. The Israelites, God's chosen people, shackled in the chains of servitude, their lamentations echoing through the vastness of the desert. Their plight was not merely a matter of earthly oppression. It was a testament to humanity's ability to forget divine ordinances and stray from the path of righteousness. With each passing day, the heavens watched, waiting for Pharaoh to heed the cries of the oppressed. But as his heart hardened, it became evident that mere words would not suffice. A more profound intervention was required, one that would shake the very foundations of the Egyptian empire and proclaim the omnipotence of God. The first sign came with the transformation of the Nile, the life-giving river, upon which the entirety of Egypt depended, turned to blood. Fish perished, and the once refreshing waters now reeked of death, sending a clear message about the source of true sustenance. Yet, this was merely the prelude. A cavalcade of horrors followed. Frogs swarmed the streets in unnatural abundance. Lice and gnats tormented both man and beast. Vast swarms of flies turned day into an unsettling twilight. Livestock fell ill and perished. Boils afflicted the skin of the Egyptians, causing agony and despair. Hail combined with fire ravaged the land, annihilating crops and greenery. Locusts descended, consuming what little remained. And darkness, thick and impenetrable, shrouded the land, symbolizing the spiritual blindness that had befallen the empire. However, it was the 10th plague, the death of every Egyptian firstborn, that delivered the most heart-wrenching blow. The air was thick with grief, and the very soul of Egypt seemed to wail in sorrow. These plagues, in all their terrifying splendor, were not mere acts of wrath. They were lessons, profound and eternal, illustrating the consequences of defying divine will and the boundless mercy of God, who, even in his anger, paved a way for redemption. As the remnants of these calamities lingered, Egypt emerged not just as a land that had witnessed divine fury, but as a testament to God's unassailable power and his enduring love for those who seek his grace. It serves as a poignant reminder that while empires may rise and fall, the eternal dance between humanity and the divine continues, guiding us towards enlightenment and salvation. Number 4, the earth swallows Korra. Number 16. Few events stand as starkly as the rebellion led by Korra against Moses and Aaron. This uprising, more than just a challenge to human leadership, represented a profound affront to divine mandate. The fate that befell Korra and his faction remains a vivid lesson about the perils of challenging the order appointed by God. Korra was a Levite, a member of a tribe specifically chosen for sacred duties. Yet, his heart harbored discontent and his spirit brewed ambition. Instead of embracing his role, he questioned the very foundations of leadership established by God, challenging the authority of Moses and Aaron. But it was not a mere challenge of leadership. It was an affront to divine governance. For Moses and Aaron were not self-appointed leaders, but were chosen by the Almighty to guide the Israelites through their desert wanderings. As Korra rallied others to his cause, including Dathan, Abiram, and On, they collectively posed a threat to the unity and purpose of the Israelite community. Armed with incense burners, 250 of them stood defiantly at the entrance of the tent of meeting, presenting a ceremonial challenge to the priestly role of Aaron. Their contention, that all Israelites were holy and that Moses and Aaron had no right to elevate themselves above the rest. They failed to recognize that it was not Moses and Aaron who elevated themselves, but God. Moses, ever the humble servant, did not react with anger or pride. Instead, he presented a divine test. He proposed that Korra and his followers bring their incense burners before the Lord the next day, where God himself would indicate his chosen ones. It was a daring proposition, a direct confrontation between the rebellious and the divine will. As dawn broke the next day, a palpable tension hung in the air. The ground beneath, often taken for granted as a symbol of stability and constancy, was about to become an instrument of divine justice. As Korra and his cohort presented themselves, Moses declared the manner of their judgment. If they were to die a natural death, then the Lord hadn't sent him. But if the earth were to open up and swallow them, it would stand as a testament to their wickedness. No sooner had he spoken than the very fabric of the earth trembled. An abyss formed beneath the feet of Korra, Dathan, and Abiram, swallowing not just them but their entire households, possessions, and all who associated with them. The earth then closed over them, sealing their fate and marking a somber end to their rebellion. This awe-inducing event, where nature itself acted as the hand of divine retribution, was not just a judgment against a group of rebels. It was a clear, unmistakable message to all that God's order and appointments are not to be taken lightly, and those who dare to challenge them do so at great peril. The story of Korra serves as a stark reminder of the boundaries established by the divine, emphasizing the importance of humility, obedience, and reverence towards God's chosen order. Number 5. The Fall of Jericho, Joshua 6. In the sun-drenched land of Canaan, the city of Jericho stood proud and defiant, its walls an architectural marvel and a testament to human ingenuity. These formidable barriers seemed impenetrable, a challenge to any who would dare lay siege to the city. However, these walls, so vaunted and revered, had not yet encountered the divine power of the God of Israel. Upon their arrival, the Israelites, under Joshua's leadership, found themselves facing this massive obstacle. Yet they came armed not just with weapons of war, but with divine guidance. The instructions from God were clear, yet unorthodox. There would be no battering rams, no scaling ladders, no arrows fired. Instead, they were to march. For 6 days, the Israelites circled the city once each day, their priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant and trumpets made of ram's horns. An eerie silence prevailed, with only the solemn footsteps of the marchers and the distant murmurs from the city's curious onlookers. On the 7th day, the rhythm changed. The Israelites, invigorated by faith, marched around Jericho 7 times. As the sun cast its golden hues on the city walls, the priests sounded their trumpets, and a great shout rose from the throats of the Israelites. The ground quaked, and in a spectacle that would be immortalized for generations, the towering walls of Jericho crumbled, falling inward and laying the city bare. This miraculous event was more than a military victory. It was a declaration. Jericho's fall symbolized the futility of relying on human-made defenses against divine purpose. The city of sin, with all its pride and defiance, was handed effortlessly to the Israelites. The narrative of Jericho eloquently drives home a timeless truth. No fortress, no matter how grand or robust, can withstand the might of God's will. Number 6. Uzzah's death, 2 Samuel 6. The tale of Uzzah stands out, illuminating the profound sanctity that shrouded certain relics of the ancient world. The Ark of the Covenant, a gilded chest containing the 10 Commandments handed to Moses, was not merely an artifact but a direct symbol of God's presence amongst the Israelites. On a day marked by celebration and anticipation, the Ark was being transported to its new resting place in the city of David. It was a joyous occasion, with David and the entirety of Israel celebrating with songs, dances, and musical instruments. As the procession progressed, the Ark, seated on a new cart, traversed the uneven terrains of ancient Judea. Suddenly, as the oxen stumbled, the Ark tilted precariously. Uzzah, acting on instinct and likely driven by a genuine desire to protect this sacred relic, reached out his hand to steady the Ark. But in that fleeting moment, something profound and terrifying occurred. Uzzah was struck dead on the spot. The jubilation of the day was instantly overshadowed by a chilling reminder of the divine sanctity of the Ark. David himself was struck with fear and questioned how he could bring the Ark to him. The festivities halted, and the Ark remained at the house of Obed-Edom for 3 months. The story of Uzzah serves as a poignant narrative about the boundaries set by the divine, emphasizing the unapproachable holiness of certain artifacts and the reverence they command. Even the best of intentions, when acted upon without understanding or respect for the divine, can have unforeseen consequences. Number 7. Ananias and Sapphira, Acts 5. In the budding days of the early Christian church, as believers banded together in shared faith and community, there emerged a tale that resonated deeply about the values of truth and sincerity. Amongst the congregation were Ananias and Sapphira, a couple who, like many others, felt compelled to contribute to this blossoming community. Witnessing the benevolent actions of others who sold their lands and possessions and laid the proceeds at the apostles' feet, they too decided to join this act of collective goodwill. They sold a piece of property, but in a whispered agreement between themselves, chose to keep back a portion of the proceeds while presenting the rest as if it were the entire sum. Ananias, with a heavy heart, approached the apostles. Yet, before any confession could emerge, Peter, with divine insight, discerned the deception. "Why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit?" he questioned. No sooner had the words been spoken than Ananias fell dead. Hours later, unaware of her husband's fate, Sapphira arrived, reaffirming the lie. Upon hearing her false testimony, she too met a similar swift and tragic end. Their story echoed throughout the Christian community, a stark parable about the gravity of deceit and the profound respect due to the divine. Number 8. Nebuchadnezzar's transformation, Daniel 4. In the heart of ancient Babylon, its golden spires reaching for the heavens, ruled King Nebuchadnezzar, a monarch of unmatched power and grandeur. His empire stretched vast and wide, and with every conquest, his pride swelled just as expansively. However, the divine watches over all and does not let arrogance go unchecked. One fateful night, the mighty king was gripped by a dream so profound that it rattled the very core of his being. Towering trees, celestial watchers, and the very voice of the heavens played out a mystic scene before him. Seeking its meaning, he summoned Daniel, the wise prophet, who hesitantly interpreted the dream, revealing a prophecy both startling and humbling. The king, if he did not recognize the ultimate power of God and continued in his prideful ways, would be cast down from his throne, his human semblance stripped away. And as prophecies often do, this one too came to pass. Nebuchadnezzar, the great ruler of Babylon, found himself transformed. His majestic robes gave way to beastly fur, and the taste of sumptuous feasts was replaced by the green grass of the field. For 7 long years he roamed, a living testament to the dangers of hubris and the inexorable dominion of the divine. But the heavens are not without mercy. As the 7 years waned, so did the beastly curse, restoring the king, not just in form but in spirit. With a heart now enlightened, Nebuchadnezzar raised his eyes to the skies, finally recognizing the eternal power above all earthly thrones. Number 9. The death of Herod Agrippa, Acts 12. Herod Agrippa sat at the zenith of his power. His reign was marked by both cruelty and cunning, and the people, in awe of his might, often whispered of his godlike stature. However, flattery, when unchecked, can weave a dangerous web. One fateful day, clad in royal garments, Herod addressed the masses. Their cheers filled the air, praises not just of a king, but of a deity. "It is the voice of a god, not of a man," they cried out, elevating him to a pedestal reserved for the divine. In that moment, intoxicated by their adulation, Herod bathed in the glory, letting the blasphemous praises wash over him without a word of correction or humility. But the true God, from whom all power flows, watched in silence, and his response was swift and unmistakable. Before the very eyes of the astounded crowd, the mighty Herod Agrippa was struck down, his once regal form now writhing in pain. To the horror of all, worms consumed him from within, a ghastly sight that left an indelible mark on the annals of history. The downfall of Herod stands as a somber tale of the transient nature of earthly grandeur and the perils of hubris. It serves as a reminder that true power and glory belong only to the divine, and those who forget this truth do so at their peril. Number 10. The snake attack on the Israelites, Numbers 21. In the vast expanse of the desert, under the relentless sun and amidst the shifting sands, the Israelites continued their arduous journey. This wandering tribe, once slaves in Egypt, had seen miracles and wonders, from parted seas to manna from heaven. Yet, as the days turned to months and months into years, weariness and discontent began to spread among them. One day, as the scorching sun bore down, murmurs of dissatisfaction grew louder. "Why have we been brought out of Egypt to die in the wilderness?" they lamented. Their gratitude for liberation waned, replaced with bitterness and distrust against both God and Moses. The heavens responded to their ingratitude in a manner no one could have foreseen. Venomous snakes, with scales glistening and fangs dripping with deadly poison, slithered into the camp. Panic ensued as these serpents bit one Israelite after another, their venom causing searing pain and swift death. The tragedy that unfolded was both a test and a lesson. Moses, ever the intercessor, prayed for his people, and God instructed him to fashion a bronze serpent. Those who gazed upon this symbol, lifting their eyes and hearts in faith, were miraculously healed. This haunting episode serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance of faith and trust in the divine. Even in moments of despair and doubt, turning away from one's spiritual compass can lead to unforeseen consequences. The Israelites' encounter with the venomous snakes teaches us that in the dance between divine providence and human frailty, it is always wise to keep our steps in tune with the divine melody. Number 11. The defeat of the Assyrians, 2 Kings 19. In an era when kingdoms clashed and empires stretched their arms, the Assyrians stood as a formidable power, a force that struck terror into the hearts of all who heard their name. Their armies, vast and relentless, marched with a singular purpose: to expand their domain and subdue any who dared resist. Jerusalem, the jewel of the Hebrew people, soon found itself in the crosshairs of this mighty empire. The walls of the city echoed with anxious whispers and heavy footsteps, for outside its gates, an ocean of 185,000 Assyrian warriors with their gleaming armor and sharpened swords laid siege, thirsty for conquest. The odds seemed insurmountable. Despair loomed over the inhabitants of Jerusalem, but in the deep corridors of faith, a glimmer of hope remained. Their trust was not in their defenses, but in the divine, the Almighty who had been their shield and protector through ages past. And then, in the hushed hours of a fateful night, as stars glittered and the world lay wrapped in a silent embrace, the inexplicable happened. An angel of the Lord descended upon the Assyrian camp. By dawn's first light, 185,000 soldiers lay lifeless, their dreams of conquest extinguished in a single divine act. This staggering event became etched in the annals of history, not as a tale of military strategy or earthly prowess, but as an awe-inspiring testament to God's unwavering protection of His chosen people. It was a story whispered through generations, reminding all of the limitless power and unyielding love of the divine. Number 12. Jezebel's gruesome end, 2 Kings 9. Queen Jezebel, draped in the luxurious robes of royalty, walked the corridors of power with a fierce determination. Her eyes, often alight with ambition, bore witness to her deep-seated idolatry and her relentless persecution of God's prophets. The land whispered her name with a mix of fear and disdain, for her deeds were as dark as the shadows that danced in the palace's hidden chambers. Prophets, the bearers of God's word, had long spoken of the fate that awaited such transgressions, and it was the indomitable Elijah, with a spirit touched by the heavens, who foretold the harrowing end of this malevolent queen. His words, though met with skepticism by many, were the whispers of divine fate, a fate that none could escape. One fateful day, the prophetic winds of destiny began to stir. As Jezebel adorned herself, perhaps gazing out from her palace window, she could not have foreseen the tragic sequence of events that would soon unfold. In a swift, almost surreal moment, she was cast from that very window, her fall witnessed by the cold, unyielding ground below. The hooves of horses, instruments of her tragic end, trampled over her without remorse. Her demise, as brutal as it was, served as a poignant reminder of the inexorable nature of divine prophecies. They stand, unyielding through the sands of time, bearing testament to the truth that while man may plot and scheme, it is the divine tapestry that ultimately weaves the final story. Number 13. The curse on Adam and Eve, Genesis 3. In the Garden of Eden, where every flower bloomed in vibrant colors and every creature sang in harmony, humanity's saga began with Adam and Eve, the first of their kind. They lived a life of splendor, walking side by side with God in a paradise that knew no pain or sorrow. However, nestled amidst this paradise was a test of obedience, a single tree bearing forbidden fruit, which would become the crux of humanity's ultimate trial. Seduced by the serpent's silver tongue, Eve and subsequently Adam tasted the fruit, setting into motion an event that would forever change the course of humanity. The very fabric of their relationship with the Creator was torn. No longer would they walk in the cool of the evening with God. Instead, they would know separation, vulnerability, and the weight of choice. From the cushion of eternal life and endless bounty, they were thrust into a world rife with challenges. Eve would come to know the pain of childbirth, and Adam, the unending toil of the soil. Their once harmonious existence was replaced with the stark reality of mortality and the constant reminder of their transgression. This pivotal tale stands as a beacon for all of humanity. It speaks of the profound consequences of straying from the divine path and the delicate, sometimes tumultuous, relationship between mankind and their Creator. Through their story, we are reminded of the fragility of trust, the cost of disobedience, and the eternal quest for redemption.